Okay. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome to September at Gestalt Poetry Open Mic. I'm honored and blessed that we're here together for an empowering poetry session. First off, some notes about Gestalt. I posted in the chat for next month at Gestalt. We have October 22nd with No 11. And then we're off in November and December for the holidays, and then back in the new year with a fresh slate of features. And what else? The video of today's poetry session will be available late tomorrow. And please mute during performances and unmute you so that we can celebrate each poet when it's time. Okay, and to sign up, if you're not on the list, just send me a direct message. And we are, unfortunately, Red Medusa is not able, let me verify that, not able to join us today. Is that true? Let's check. Yes, okay, right. She has a migraine and isn't feeling well, so we wish her well and we miss her. We have Lantern Carrier as our feature today. We are so blessed and honored that he is featuring for us. And I want to get his bio in here and get it so that you guys can read it, because I can't read all of it because it's long and wonderful. Here we go. Oh, now it's not letting me.
I was saying that most people know me. I'm
good.
very easy on bios. You don't need to.
Well, I do want to say a little.
Say as little as you can.
I don't say too much. Just the right amount. Okay. Manatita, aka the Lantern Carrier, is a creative writer and author of 3 books. He has been on the poetry scene both nationally and internationally for 21 years. He grew up writing poetry since age 4. He switched to inspirational poetry when he took up the meditative life, and he has done many things, and that's where the bio goes on. Please welcome Lantern Carrier, everybody.
Woo! Go Lantern.
Thank you very much, Amy. Gratitude must be in order. I thank you for providing the platform so I could perform. I thank Red Medusa. If she isn't here, her spirit is here. She's a dear friend of mine. I see I have many poet friends present. So kudos to all my poet friends, and of course, special to the avid listeners, wherever you are. So I will start. If I could start my life once more, I would treasure the laughter of discomfiture and cradle the darkness of a shadowed past. If I could start my life once more, I would treasure the thorns on roses and bow at the feet of my gross desires. Doesn't each new dawn follow night? The radiant spring, winter's dreary clouds. Alas, I knew not then. I knew naught but despair and loneliness, saw adversity the enemy, not the friend, a flame of luster opening my heart to impunity. Now I feel a longing which time itself cannot erase, a lover with nothing but tender words for his beloved, my soul in ceaseless agony for its true self. If I could start my life once more, I'll neither hinder nor erase the abyss. Love is busy enough, unraveling the pages of its mystery. As such, it behoves me to admire, not disturb. Some stories remind me of torrential rain, for they run down the faces of my ancestral women, a river of scarlet tears of foreign intrusions, saturating their emotions, suffering the loss of self-worth, their bodies drenched and sullied with the dignity of abuse. Some stories remind me of hurricanes, I can still hear the howls like waves of fierce currents crushing against the smooth melanin of my ancestors, living a wailing sound like fierce tornadoes, scars of deep wounds and devastation in its wake. Some stories remind me of funerals, sad, poignant, slow and deliberate, like the smell of millions dying from enforced journeys on transatlantic ships, packed like sardines, burdened with unmentionable shackles, across continent by foreign intruders, enslaving and victimizing them for over 600 years. Some stories remind me of fragrances, found amidst jasmines and lavenders across Derbyshire dales and meadows of spring, filled with the enchantment of starlings, canaries, and nightingales. They're a symphony of amazing grace, healing the weary hearts of an enslaved people, a respite for their spirit, touched and nourished by the light of paradise, amidst heavy and almost impossible odds. Some stories remind me of diamonds like poetry, coming directly from songs of the soul, teaching us that there is nothing greater than love, that brutal force cannot stop the inner fire of fortitude, that compassion is the mercy of heaven, addressing our quest for healing, equality, and justice. Some stories inspire visions like an emancipation act we know is not meaningful enough, but is nevertheless a temporary breeze of solace in an otherwise daily and intense ordeal of systemic disparity and segregation, of living in ghettos and slums, displaced and marginalized as a people. Yet all we ever sung are the songs of mutual cooperation, of harmony and oneness, knowing that no one is an island, that we all one spirit connected by the light of the Most High Emperor itself, facing our daily struggles in dark tunnels, yet with the glimmer of the wings of hope for tomorrow's radiant sunrise. All this with an undaunted flame within, a belief in the resilience of our ancestors, the glories and wonders of a golden realm where the toil and cries of our incessant labors adds to the merits of our liberty. Stories that speak of a truth that we are not born in fetters, but unconquerable shafts of the immortal, whose birthright was, is, and will always be a perennial freedom greater than a million sparkling moons and stars. I do not want to know. I do not want to understand. I just want to be free. Symbolism, with benevolent references to religion. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Many observe the sacred call to prayer, salat, via gongs, cymbals, or the chiming of bells. Others through chants of sutras, the Jesus Christ of frustration, or the voice from the confines of the heart, when human capacity is all but ended, like the wax in a waning candle with a poor flickering flame. Nam Yo Renge Kyo. Nam Yo Renge Kyo. This Buddhist chant echoes to the sound of a drum or the clapping of an arousing sanctity, reminding me of nirvana. Perhaps the African griots taught the history of my ancestors in a similar way. The cross is a powerful symbol of the way of surrender, of sacrifice, a cosmic paradox of a seer who offered a way to paradise, but was instead callously crucified for his mercy. The ankh is a revered symbol of the breath of the life immortal, or common source. In the wee hours of dawn in Tanzania, the Islamic Adhan awakens me, Amidst this echo, I hear the stillness of silence, the migration of birds, see the craterlakes, magnificent safaris, the majesty of Kilimanjaro. Here in the UK, there's a royalty of a different kind, and both the crown and flag represents the symbols of profundity, nobility, generosity, and union. Across the ferry to Governor's Island, I can see the Statue of Liberty, a most powerful symbol of freedom, equality, and justice for all, a golden dream for which the visionaries in heaven are still praying. Not so far away is the majestic Freedom Tower with its impressive vista, a commanding memorial for the terror victims of 9/11. It is also a stark reminder of man's inhumanity to man, of the horrors of greed, the endless desires for strategic locations, human labor, land and natural resources to assuage my avarice and ego. Bells chime again at Christmas. I welcome Santa, reindeer, and sleigh as I do the mistletoe, carols, and frivolity, the gaiety and merriment of humans yearning for happiness, like the call to salat, prayer, in the spirit of Allah, or the holy prophets of Allah, peace and blessings be upon them. Just a month before this, Diwali covered the Indian soil with millions of flares, an outer and inner reminder that I came from light, I live in light, and to light I shall return. The swastika calls me not to darkness, but the energy of the sun, of Sanatana Dharma, moksha, or liberation, man's ancient quest for peace, holiness, inner opulence, harmony, of universal brotherhood. It speaks of the absolute, the source of living formlessness, from which I flowed in delight like a peerless river to this beautiful land of Gaia, where I became a sojourner, striving to evolve through challenges. Chained in my symbolisms of tribe and culture, of dogma, rituals and religion, of race, politics, prejudice and disparity, gentrification and more, I am in search of meaning, of identity and oneness. Allahu Akbar. Love is compassionate and eternal. There is no reality but this absolute consciousness, and creation is the light, projection, a colossal arena of this love. Amen. Poison at the end of the food chain is very rarely its source. Lightning strike with blinding speed, yet the bun tree knows that it came from above the clouds. The tyranny of oppression is not new, but an enemy of man, sweeping down the path of centuries. When a dying man says, I can't breathe, it is really a complex and repeated echo, a poignant and tragic one indeed, living the heavy stain of grief, sighing on the living breath of countless souls. Dying from the coldness of another, reawakens the cry of longing for equality and justice by the oppressed, who seemingly won the battle against the brutality of slavery, only to fight another war for survival. The very presence of excessive greed defines by nature unjust elements in a society which is either duplicitous, complacent, or indifferent. There's an ingrained history of abuse of power, insecurity, and mistrust. Like all chronic afflictions, the remedy is painfully slow, and the wheels of pain keep spinning in ghettos. As such, social disparity prevails, together with hunger and deprivation, breeding strife in the hearts of the dispossessed. A wise man once said, the best remedy for the soul is love. But what if it doesn't work, said the skeptic. Then increase the dose, the seer replied. Yet wails run red, echoing in ancestral Africa. Each heinous crime diminishes me, weakens the spirit of a community which inherently wish to live peacefully side by side, but is instead forced to address the ravages of disorder. So while the light of the firefly is no match for the stunning effects of moonlight, even a candle of hope can light up the sky. My eyes are not as powerful as the sun, yet they see colossal things. Like moths, some rush to the seeming light, which is none other than darkness. Callousness reigns in many hearts. The dead blames the ones that are dying. The cry of each soul longs for freedom, tugging at sunrise upon the dawn and sunsets on the horizon. Meanwhile, confusion reigns in the light of day, while we weep in the shadows, striving to rise against a background of pain and complacency. Tomorrow is another day, and today well spent prepares and shapes my journey. I rise at dawn, hear the lark sings and aspires to its eloquence and vivacity. The charm of daffodils and seasonal spring fills my heart with wonder, and I taking another breath, joyful to be alive. Sea water rushes towards me, bringing a rhythmic melody, a reflective piece of music of everything that is good and noble, full of peace and light. I bow in sweet reverence, offer myself to the glories of creation, wish all kindred spirits would breathe this love. Pinnacles. Listen to the reed, says Rumi. The how it sings a sad tale of separation. Every lover separated from his beloved longs to return home. Like the reed, I lament the pangs of scorched desires and yearn to return to the void of sweet emptiness, which is my true source. Alone in an arid desert, I cry for the oasis of living water, which is my abode of light. Attachment severed me like bamboo into a hollow flute. My existence became divorced from its source until I longed to return to her majesty. An ocean of sorrow gushed out of my heart, carrying the pinnacle visions of my agony to rediscover my true nature. I'm in quest of my quintessence of rhapsody and weep God's rain. The wine of love evades me, even as I cup my hands, make prostrations like a desperate man. I wail with passion like a Bollywood lover, longing for the return of his sweetheart. Alas, a lost mariner on tempestuous seas, the rock seems perilous, and I do all I can to avoid the turbulent waves. Now lifeless and empty, my melody is all but distant. I rely on the flight of singing of larks as beacons for my homeward journey. I was never a stranger to hurdles or challenges, and in my quest for meaning, I once climbed 4,000 meters of Kilimanjaro and 5,000 meters of Annapurna, yet I never reached my pinnacle. Both Icarus and Edmund Hillary knew a thing or two about pinnacles. The latter succeeded with the aid of his Sherpa Tenzin, but Icarus fell from vanity and melted wax, reminding me of my own impediments while striving to rise like Maya Angelou, songbird of the spirit that I am. It is love that kisses the laws responsible for my transformation of being. And her remedy for suffering lies in the healing stabs of adversity, a radiant blossom to assist growth and development. As such, I continue to rise, a seafarer undaunted, homeward bound to the pinnacle shores of this self-transcending delight. I wish I could feel now what I felt then. You and I, hand in hand, picking winter sweet clematis, caressing the unseen purple of the redolence on our breaths, throwing snowballs to infinitude. I wish I could feel now what I felt then. Your smile painting its magical garlands on my gaze, my hopes and dreams blossoming like radiant lotuses, nature's sunset alluring my being with its enchantments. I wish I could feel now what I felt then, heart singing sweetly in the meadow of bliss, my soul bud dancing on the golden robes of moonlight, cradling my longing with speechless rhapsodies. I wish I could feel now what I felt then, your love like an arrow piercing into my spirit, a bewildering and wondrous wine, intoxicating my soul with the ecstasy of love. Yet, even as my brush longs to stroke the past, I can only admire the sacrament of the present moment. Dawn is fast approaching. My beloved is playing with each moment in accordance with her dreams. I shall do the last poem. Children of the light. When times are hard, things don't seem right. The fog is dense and day seems night. We're insecure like thieves in flight. The path is tough, no love's in sight. When fear and sorrow pierce your being, seemingly attacked by things unseen, and times are dark, the way seems mean, you feel your life is full of din. When lack of hope doth reign supreme, replaced by fears and inner screams, no faith is there, no soothing stream to quell the darkness in your dreams. Hold on, somehow you'll get respite, for we're all children of the light. You're white, black, or yellow, other. You're still a spark of love's lover, free as buds of Holy Mother, fly above the hills of Dover. Adversity's lamp helps you grow, to progress march, green pastures mow, to see, to watch, to cherish so, when from your slumbers you do grow. You're born to be as doves in flight, to manifest an inner light. Life's neither shadows nor the night, ascend beyond the stars so bright. Then you'll be filled with great delight, for we all children of the light. Lantern Carrier, thank you.
Oh,
Lantern Carrier, yes.
yes, Lantern.
Love
That
it.
was beautiful, Lantern Carrier.
Great work.
Such a privilege to hear you, Lantern. Thank you.
Henry,
I think
you are a light worker.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, agreed.
Yes. yes.
Let's all stop now. That's enough.
That's enough. We're done.
No,
Gosh, wow. Thank you. We're so honored you're here with us. You really are a light leader. Thank you for your
Amy.
inspiration.
My pranams to you for having me. Your life of conscience, social sense of illumining and awakening us about injustices, your ability to promote the noble art of poetry and to send your messages that way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all my friends, my avid listeners, and everyone who's graced this platform tonight.
I totally agree. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to find the sign-up list real quick. And it is a good and long one. So let me grab that carefully. And then I have two, I believe just two that have asked to join. And I'm hoping it's gonna let me put it in there. It did. So that's where we're starting. Now, is Brenda Calhoun here? Okay. Ian McKenzie. Hiram Larew. I thought I saw him there. Is he not here? That's so odd. He was here earlier. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
Oh, there you are. Well, since we only had the one feature today, you can go up to 5 minutes if you'd like.
Okay, I'm new to the group. I wasn't sure. are you asking me to go now or
Yes,
later?
sir. Yes,
Oh,
if you
okay,
would
I'm
like
sorry.
to, if you'd
Sure,
like to.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Well,
No worries, no worries.
thanks so much, Amy. I'm sorry I'm running just a little bit late, and really appreciate being here for the first time. I see a lot of names I recognize, and so it's good to be with you folks. And my apologies up front for those of you who have already heard this piece and seen it. I would like to see if I could share screen it, if that's possible, Amy. What I'm going to do is read a poem to you and then present the poem to you. And I'll explain a little bit about what I mean by present in just a second. But the poem first appeared in a journal called Orbis, and it's titled Magic. It's a poem that actually begins, is the very first poem in my most recent collection. It's titled Magic, and it's all about kind of the wonder of stepping outside from being in and kind of looking up and just being in awe of looking out and up. Magic. The stars in your chest, the sounds of their glow, their flash, blink, wings, their touch top skies. These leaps towards light, these grateful, urging, holy stars in your chest and now in your throat. Their voices of beams, even into your heart and beyond. Their blaze, each star that starts in your chest and spins out from there, spins you as nothing else can, as magic comes true, with your chances so inside and out, with each and every star so over the moon. So that's a poem, Magic. And now I'd like to show you the poem. Give me just 1 second to cue it up here. And when I say show it to you, I was lucky enough to have the poem sign language interpreted into American Sign Language by a gentleman named Eric Epstein. And I think you'll see that Eric does magic, at least I believe he does magic, a little bit biased here, but I think he just does a magical job of interpreting this. Just a couple of things. He is a poet himself. He is deaf. You will not hear anything when I play the video back. It's silent, but it is captioned.
Yeah, I hope he'll be okay.
But somebody needs to go on mute. And so you'll hear or you'll see Eric interpreting the poem, but you won't hear a thing. So this is magic interpreted in American Sign Language by Eric Epstein. So that was magic. I hope you all were able to see the captions. Let me stop sharing. I hope you were able to see the captions, but interpreted, sign language interpreted, that poem by Eric Epstein. Thanks so much, Amy.
Thank you. That was beautifully expressed both by you and Eric. Thank you for sharing that with us. Wonderful star imagery and just beautiful movement. I love that. Thank you. All right. Do we have Aisha Jamshed here? Epiphany Divine, you just got here. Epiphany, let's see, look on the other screen. There you are. She's not on video yet. Maybe we'll come back to her because she's just getting in. All right, Anjetta Williams, I know you're here.
Yes, I'm here.
Yay,
I'm
welcome.
I'm here. Okay, I'm sitting up under my grandkids' bunk bed, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. The first poem I'm about to read is called To Thine Own Self Be True. A friend of mine was trying to figure out what she needed to do about something. I figured if I wrote her a poem, it'd be better than what I would tell her. It goes, to thine own self be true. To thine own self be true. Make sure you know what to do. Never agonize over the situation. Just remember the rule of truth. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. To thine own self be true. Friends may sympathize, but they can never realize. Friends can lend a shoulder to cry on, but they can never really comfort you. To thine own self be true. To thine own self be true, true enough to know when you have done all you can do. To thine own self be true, true enough to know that there is only one who can help you. To thine own self be true, true enough to take it to the mountain and leave it there. And the second one is called Peachy Blessed Day. When I wake up in the morning and I smell a honeysuckle as it creeps gently across the meadow, I know that God's angel mercy's tender touch once again lovingly and gently woke me up. It's gonna be a peachy blessed day. When I hear the rhythmic thump of the rain on the old tin roof, and see the monstrous winds tossing huge trees to and fro all around me, I know that God's angel goodness has once again protected me. It's gonna be a peachy blessed day. When life's walls start closing in around me, and Satan is knocking at every door and climbing through the window too, I know God's angel peace has once again comforted me. It's gonna be a peachy blessed day. I know if God brought me to the mountain, he will guide me through the mountain. I know that nothing is impossible for my God. I know that God has worked out all my problems while I'm still thinking about them. I know that he is an awesome God, and that is why it is always going to be a peachy blessed day.
Thank you also for inspiration and love expressed in the poem for your friend who's hurting. Wonderful inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And next we have Alexandra Psaropoulous. Yay.
Going to be a peachy blessed open mic. I really like that phrase.
Thanks.
Okay, this is flying 3. Happiness is flowing. Happiness is flowing to me. It's okay, there's happiness even in pain. There is sense even in losing it. Even if you have fallen from earth all the way down to hell, you know that the way up is always open, and you hope and you know you can make it, you will make it, higher, even higher, all the way up to heaven very soon. Higher, even higher, all the way up the path of the sacred marriage. Higher, even higher, all the way up into all that is us, into all that is our magical world, into the highest love and pleasure, into the highest soul and body union, into supreme happiness, flying home, unique to us, all visions becoming reality, all dreams coming true more beautifully than you ever imagined. Being there, just trusting, just knowing, so surely, so softly, so gently, so sweetly. Happiness is flowing in. Happiness is flowing in to me and my soulmate and my family and my friends. The erotic flying is flowing in. The spiritual flying is flowing in. The flying of health and beauty is flowing in. The flying of prosperity is flowing in. And you wish everything was perfect from the start. And everything is not perfect from the start. And everything becomes perfect through the journey. And everything becomes perfect because of the journey. Higher, even higher, into higher perceptions. Higher, even higher, into higher vibrations. Into higher levels of fulfillment and enjoyment. Experiencing, learning, evolving, renewing, flowing together. In and out of the darkness, in and out of the light, in and out of disconnection, in and out of connection, in and out of the magic, in and out of the magical world, ebbing and flowing, balancing on the waves, preparing for each other, maturing for each other, so sensitive, so strong, so special, still on our path, always on our path, everything part of our path, higher, even higher up our path, flying higher, even higher, love energy, life energy. Happiness is flowing in. Happiness is flowing in to me and my soulmate and my family and my friends and Greece and the whole world. Thank you.
Wow. You really are so inspirational and a beautiful visual artist. I didn't mean that anyone else wants to say something, please do. Oh my
Amazing,
gosh.
amazing.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
Alexandra. Amazing.
Relaxing.
Definitely. Thank
Trying
you.
to be positive.
You are. You're so led by your inner light. It's a beautiful thing. I learn every time you present.
That's me not watching the news and hiding in my house on top of the sea.
You have to take a break. Can't do it all the time. Let me check here. Is Raw James here? Richard Harris. Laura Grevel. Hey.
Thank you, Amy.
Oh, you're welcome.
I am here.
I'm glad.
Glad to be here. Let's see, I'm going to do a Ukraine-related poem tonight. It's called Two Natashas, One Babushka, Two Cats. I hold this day close as two Natashas arrive. One babushka, two cats. We smell them first, the cold, cold dread. Kharkiv has come with them, its dust rising like incense from their bodies. Our neighbors from Poland say a babushka lived in their mountains at home. And hearing that her sister died just before the first attack, that babushka bought a ticket, tightened her kerchief, got on the empty bus, headed back so she too could die in Ukraine. Two Natashas, one babushka, two cats, play a song of giggle and weep. They love the leafless trees. No fever or fatigue stops them taking pictures, sending back news of unwalked snow. They do not blink at our wary faces. Living faces are always beautiful. For tomorrow, the war is over. They'll drive back. Their car waits, still stuffed with dry goods, blankets, chaos, for the return home. Where Natashas' flowering garden waits, bursting with color, bursting with days gone by, bursting with unsung heroes. Where is your son, Natasha? Dancing the streets of Kharkiv, feet prancing over shells fired by reluctant boys whose teeth chatter a jazz pattern that longs to bite the bullet at the end of the barrel, spray teeth out to outer space, where the first cosmonaut waits to gather comrades unlucky in love. Where is your daughter, Natasha, gathering teeth in your garden, the teeth of her love, planting these to seed a new Kharkiv? Where is your sister, babushka, waiting at the funeral bier, spreading her baked tesseract bones across the walls in a ravishing concoction of mosaic mummery? Where is your husband, Natasha? Holding his father close where the tunnels beneath the war breathe in and out, the cats and dogs chant, for tomorrow the war is over. Two Natashas, one babushka, two cats will drive home in the car that carefully hugs the tightly packed goods, the blankets, and the cold, cold dread. To find the precious glittery thing that cannot be destroyed. The one possession that is intact. See it lying in the grimy street. The rucksack of hope, holding its arms out in naked supplication. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Heart-wrenching, beautiful, tragic, so well crafted. Thank you. Now we have Richard Spisak.
Thank you so much, Amy, and thank you to all you wonderful poets lighting your fires, lighting your spirits, your hearts. It's such a beautiful, warm glow. I have these few little offerings for you. Here we go. This first one, I'm going to treat on the odd welcoming from the governor of Florida to refugees. I call it ship them out. DeSantis grabbed some refugees, loaded them up in 2s and 3s, thought he'd have a little fun and show those liberals how it's done. Then his buddy Abbott tried to show him up, and he made him filthy take He made him take a filthy bus to show him he's a guy to trust. Promised homes and jobs and schools and thereby broke a dozen rules. DeSantis has 12 million bucks. He'll put him in trains and planes. He'll load some buses. All to show he's got conviction, though he's a Catholic, he's got no contrition. Though all these bishops took offense when Biden preferred abortion laws made sense and forbid the sacraments, the bishops say, although the Pope went over their heads, DeSantis moved to push him off. He says no room in Florida's Inn. The bishops got no beef with him. Specifically on Friday, don't you know, the bishops don't care where those buses go. And yes, old abbots got the habit of sending refugees to liberal gown towns, hoping to steam some educated scholars to dump on the porches smaller. Let's see, said, how perhaps is the mariachis, will they disturb their naps? DeSantis planned this. DeSantis planted this kiss. Simple human life became his toy. And human lives, if you could see them used as knives, trafficked for profit, he robbed them of hope, dropping families without a note. No remorse. Even worse, the INS must, of course, send officers to his door. Human lives cannot be used to make a score. That's not what taxpayers' money's for. He must be called before justice. A judge and jury in a hurry must rule on this. Will justice ever pay some heed to all these jokers' dirty deeds? Will they grab this dirty laundry and stuck these miscreants all in sundry? What they deserve, take my word, as anyone can tell. They're the ones belonging in a bare stone cell. That's one. And thank you. This other one, it's in a season. It's called Oh, How Those Tiny Flying Fingers, How They Linger. You know, we've got Halloween coming up when we celebrate All Souls Day, or maybe Halloween and maybe hidden identities and masks. But I wrote this about bats. I thought that was an autumnal thing to write. So here we go. Oh, those tiny flying fingers, how they linger. Over 13,000 species as they leaky, streaky through the crystal quiet night. And though some might fear the eye appeal, see, continue as you please, dine mightily, nightily on those hovering bugs that bite and stir and hug those we do not love. Over 13,000 species global in your reach, and oh, so your tiny noble falling feces probably fell on Martin Luther's theses on a night so long ago. Agile flyers, no deniers, not even birdies, all those winged boys and girlies admire thee, O thou king of flexing hex-wing flyers. Some of your kin, tiny and thin, weigh less than a penny, although others, not many, have webbed wingspans 6 feet complete. The scientific name of your family is Chiroptera, which means, even to Frank Sinatra in Latin, hand wing, which gives you standing, quite demure I'm thinking, as you're landing. Yet, as proud as she is, sadly this, you'll find no painty-dainty fingernails on her as she sails with stunning verve and an awful lot of nerve. Oh, those only flying mammals, though we've sought and scrambled, you're unique and flighty in that nighty which you handle beyond compare. And as you flicker, fly in the night's sweet air, you're clearly our friend, 'cause in the end you hunt and then snatch for your lunch a match-munching, mosquito-crunching, complete. Oh, farewell, mosquito. Flit and flurry, decked out merrily for your evening's dining glory. Go forth, snug, catch a smug bug up there in the air, wear on the wings your thing. Scientists who study the darkling flying buddies say 2 sizes sum you up from their study. Microbats with tiny caps flit and flying in the night, and megabats with tall silk hats. The topper is a whopper with a wingspan, I understand, 1/10 of 60 feet. Pretty neat. Using echolocation, summing up the situation, while flitting and flying, there's no denying you've a master flair of the air. Using high-pitched sounds that echo and rebound, you're a veritable flying chorus in the air as you're winging, always singing, just averting acrobatic disaster as you're alerting, avoiding obstacles, absent tiny spectacles, combining and refining echo vision with seamless precision in ever-widening waves of sound. A song, ever delicate and dedicated, quite profoundly stated, high above the ground, unencumbered, liberated. It keeps you flying there, avoiding obstacles where no chart topper, hip-shaking, hip-hop making, gold wrecker faking ever found. The megabats are tropical fellows feasting on fruit and pollen to boot, and they all have large eyes and a great sense of smell, although from the ground you could honestly hardly tell. Our friends the bats, whether eating bugs or singing their hits, while they swoop and flit, seldom climb up on your neck to nestle. No, you're not their drinking vessel. Despite the old count in the castle, no bat worth his hat will take a bite of your neck. Heck, I even checked.
The second poem, what a delight. Thank you. The first
Thank you.
poem, so incisive, so to the point. Thank you. Thank you. Therese Cranberry.
Thank you, Amy.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, this
Welcome.
is great. Wonderful, wonderful poetry. I always have a hard time choosing because I started out with a lot of single homeless mothers poems because of the other speaker. So I'm going to just do two different things. This one, people seem to like this one. It's called Vulnerability, the Undoing of False Love. I took that ring off. No, not out of dread or something you said. There simply was no way ahead, and the light, well, the light inside had died, and yet here I am, fully alive to the wonders of what lies ahead. Life is a mystery, and I could not hide behind a ring that lied of a relationship. I brushed aside all the questions and entered the rhythm of new things as the life I have lived had died. It wasn't that I sought new things. I didn't need to hide behind a ring, acting as a cover, as if there was another. I was enough alone. No need to be owned. Too much was at stake. My integrity, and for the sake of my own voice, I sail on the course. Sorry about that. This is, something is wrong here. Oh, sorry. Oh boy, I'm really sorry about this. I'm reading it and it's blocked. Okay, sorry about that. Too much was at stake. My integrity, and for the sake of my own voice, I sail on the course of mystery. I am enough and free, and it's best if you see me as I really am, without a ring to give me cover to hide behind. I am not blind, and can receive this grace in new ways. It is our fate. Throughout my life, I've known the course of love is unending, and I can wait. I can wait. So that's one. And this is one. I'm writing a series of 11 poems on homeless mothers. It's part of my dissertation, each narrative. So this is, I may have read this, I don't know. It's called, it's a whole anthem of standpoint of single homeless mothers. Ashley, don't go thanking yourself. Oh, mother, they have taken me away from you twice, mother. Such a price, even though they knew how hard you tried. You never lied. But they ripped me from your side, even though they knew you never lied, and just how hard you tried. I thought in high school I'd be a pediatrician. I had all A's and made you proud. Never seen my dad, though I know the crowd he was part of. I didn't know that in a moment of finally feeling loved, he could fill my body planting seeds. I was a mild-mannered girl, still am, but that man ran off in fear when I said we could be parents. He fled. Now my being filled with dread, and I never heard from him again. Shocked as I came to realize we were just a whim, I thought it meant so much more to him as he went straight through our front door, never to return again. I was just a kid. What did I know about love? My mother loved, yes, and nurtured us, but warned me just to let it go and watch myself, as there is so much I didn't know. Don't be fooled. And then I was again. Now, with two little girls who filled my heart with joy, it was our very lives that troubled yours. How could it be that I could not follow the path you had imagined for me? No cars or bus to take us to your church, and zip codes erecting bars to our housing search. And then we lost our home as Mom's cracked bone in her leg from an accident set us back with no money for rent. Now we stayed with our aunt in an overcrowded space. Still, our love prevailed, and we laughed and worked despite the size of the place. Such joy filled our hearts when a big check arrived in recompense for the damage to your leg and that treacherous drive. Your pride was savaged with you homeless, out of work, and in pain. You never complained, but kept hoping and telling the housing workers, soon you will be able to have a small, stable home of your own. No, you were never one to shirk your responsibility. To own a home of your own meant security for your family, now trapped in poverty. Then, terror, despair everywhere, as welfare forced you to pay back their loan. We lost our home, and it was then that we discovered we are not free and never will be. My sorrow grew as they refused to pay for us two and the children to live together in our hope to grow in independence, as most families do by supporting one another. Then in time you returned to work, and welfare assigned me a job to pay down my debt by clearing the jails. This was a problem, and I objected, fearing I could bring illness home to my children. I would do my best in any other place. Now I studied to be a health aide with the promise I made to myself, and with God's grace, I will move my family out of a system that erects support for single mothers resembling a prison. I cry every day because we are apart, as my mother and my brother, well, they are my heart. When I cry because of this predicament, I look at my children and they bring me joy. It is very clear now, and knowing all the time, you built your world with only you in mind, and not for any other kind of person who you will never call neighbor. I declare meritocracy a thing of the past, but you will never rip a mother's infant from her breast. And now, while I have a breath in me, I'll work to finally set us free. Join me. That's it. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant. So poignant and clear, well sculpted. Very well done. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Oh, sure. Eike Waltz?
It's Eike Waltz.
Ike, I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Welcome.
Well, this one is all about rain. I live in Monterey Bay, California. Well, we had rain, and that was the first rain since end of last April. Rain in Verona, or a finger on Highway 1. Juliet gave me the finger on Highway 1. I wished I knew why. And after all, what have I done to excite her on that rainy day? 6,000 miles away, Bella Italia, Verona. Under a bleak mantle, inside that dreary cover of a rainy winter night, drops of sweet melancholy. I'm listening, I'm counting, that persistent again and again, drip, drip, and so every drop echoed by drenching reality, that relentless pock, 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 a rhythm all of its own, promises never made too soon, reminiscing that abundant balcony top. When I, once young, and I was God, that year, that day, that place, where I met Juliet, innocence now stuck in the cracks of time, stone and mortar hides your lovely name. Give me back, return to me my youth, once so sublime. I will be your lover, that carelessness forever, that exotic endeavor, intoxication all but mine. Let us be in dulci jubili. Auch das Schöne muss sterben. Freude, schöner Götterfunke. Another love song, too soon to end. But why? Nothing was to die. Glitter, clamor, clutter, garbage. Screaming, a life of TV joy, where raging blood spills into ruby red wine, morning, noon, and dinner time. Ancient voices ricocheting, tragedy from the Roman Colosseum, fighting men and wild beasts every day. Today, exciting voices tear your heart, keeping alive the pompous opera. The aria of Juliet is all jubilating the heart of mine. Memorably only that returning midnight tantrum of screeching graffiti spray by design, walls mixing colors of the many lovers, aerosol messages changing all the time, Giuseppe Torelli's musical scores washing down that sluggish, dirty water. Cur Adice, history's river, so polluted for all I see. But I want to reminisce about me. Beauty has gone to bed, floating within, but else that infinite thing called time. I look at you, I talk to you, I question you. Motions penetrate skin, a heave and a sigh, ever so delicate, ever so refined. Raindrops in Verona, a spell of romance, that thick fragrance of stark, sweet sorrow, that drip, drip, talk, my last embrace I borrow from these lovers of the dead. I kiss a lullabies tomorrow, and then sleep tight, she said. Yearnings that follow beyond imagination, my borrowed bed, still warm, embossed are those haunting shadows of Juliet and mine. And there I stand, with my crutch on life, and I stare at you. Do I sob, or is it pouring rain? What does it matter now? I am still in love, beyond again. Like the exiled Dante, I walk my way. Beatrice, a deity stronger than I, shall rule all over me. Yet nothing seems any more to be. Toothless is that nourishing hope. Now that I reached ambition's satisfied pinnacle, life's energy, youth occupies such privileged dream, and I tackle now with my last breath the same old same. My vipers wipe my tears that run on a soggy highway one. Juliet gave me that middle finger that was meant for me. Juliet, will you make love to me? It does not matter if it is on Highway 1, in the car, or anywhere else, or even somewhere better. Yes, heavy rain was falling on Highway 1. Juliet gave me that finger. Now, you tell me, how much better would you have done? Thank you.
Beautiful, simply beautiful. I love the love stories and the weaving of the imagery, the sounds, the graffiti. It was very well done. Thank you so much. And now we have Finn Hall.
Hello. Thank you for squeezing me in.
Oh, sure.
I have a two set of quite quick ones, I think. This one I wrote, actually, Brother Rick and I wrote this yesterday, and it just was literally a messenger conversation that we had, and it's called Renewing Your Poetic License. I got the Joycean addendum. I don't even have to use common words with the Lewis Carroll certification. And I always get the E.E. Cummings capitalization qualification. Well worth the extra 50 cents. You get free usage of semicolons and Oxford commas if you renew within 2 days of receiving the reminder. Oxford commas, I hardly use them. I should get a refund. They can be carried forward indefinitely. Is there interest? I could carry the interest as long as I lift with my legs. That would be tiring, you must admit, if you admit to anything. Long gone are the legs of youth. Forsooth, you cry, not I, before taking the elevator instead of the stairs. Your head says one thing, the body another. There are days when you say, why bother? But bother you do, bother you must, or else your brain will turn to mush. Write, and write well. Poetry, prose, stories, sonnets, and villanelle. Tell the dads and the mamas, long live the Oxford comma. Splendid. My rejoinder must wait. No, not a ton, son of a gun. Not a weaking, leaking spell, this much I can tell. But your challenge so literate, since I would seem to consider it. Give me a day to compose what I must say in response. I say as an excuse, or at least a ruse. I have no wish to put a full stop to this work. To do so, I'd be a jerk. Right away, at your will. Pick up the pen or the digital quill. Writing on writing can be sort of frightening. What judgment might be offered? What coinage should be offered when a rejoinder spoilage coffered? Should I boldly bray about metaphor I've sent, recoiling, roiling through the day? Should I shout hosannas at the manna falling from a rhyme well versed in time? But, my friend, how could this but merry like a curry cooked in a pamphlet or a book? I find your wit well tuned, but at February or in June I enjoy your jest well and sprightly, but such, well, mouth tones I'd enjoy even nightly. I expect those guests whom you ferry through the streets must be made merry by your well-framed jests and Tartarian jibes, regardless of Mohicans or Germanic tribes. But back to Oxford commas. I would use a comma where my mamma says their wife because of merriment, but I must ask a small deferment in this pause, past passage, paragraph, if I hope to make you laugh. But cab, trolley, train cab, or funicular might place me near or journey me far. I only ask this small boon, benefit, gift, bonus. Carry, I will all the way to the dockside boat, dock, wharf and carry. When off, I should edge, so off the edge I should lolly. Gather into your pouch your pen, your journal, on your slouch, that we might with the semi-literate barter. And at last, my friend, the truth is, we are smarter than the starter's guns report, and like a dragon, start up with a spot. Is thus. The must malign punctuation is given such a lowly station, perhaps hindered in its usage by a rival university town, Cambridge feeling lost, forlorn, and very, very down. So I say this, I say it loud. Don't let the virtuous Oxford comma disappear. The way of percontation marks and therefore dots and other punctuation we have forgot. Tilde, caret, pipe, the N dash, the M, and the angle bracket. Gone or going. Now there's a racket. And I will do this, if you don't mind, if I can find it now, this other one. There was also a collaboration. I like collaborations, but I like them to be organic. And this one was, it was written by, the first verse was actually written by a friend of mine, a younger friend of mine. Practically everybody in the world is younger than me. And this was called Make Friends with Others Who Aren't Your Age. A friend once asked me, what can I learn from a friend like you? At first glance, you might wonder what we have in common. 3 decades between us, and yet I identify. There's something about you, that sparkle in your eye. Tell me your story, the things you think I should know, years of wisdom that can help me grow. And you can ask me anything in return. Well, thanks for the opportunity. I would never presume to be wiser than you. The knowledge I have due is to this paths I have crossed. The little I've gained so far is but a drop in the ocean compared to what there is to know. I may have more experience than you, but your experiences are different to mine and as important. We both gain knowledge from knowing each other. It's the knowledge of knowing that will help keep me growing. And all I would ask, it's not a difficult task, it's not to dwell in the past. There's a difference between nostalgia and memories. There is no good old days, because in between the happy happenings, the sad ones existed too. For every one that made you smile, another one made you blue. They say that you only remember the good times. Sure, that is often the case. And sometimes the bleak times fade with age. Sometimes. But if you were never down, how would you know what is up? And you won't always be a young pup. I rejoice at being this age, my age. And whilst I made many things that I wouldn't do again, as I am now a septuagenarian, they help me make me who I am today. Slow down, What now? Not me. You see, I've still lots of things I want and need to do before my time is done. As long as I can walk and think and, well, not quite run, but keep on doing the things I do. Trying new things, expand my range, never ever being afraid of change. I realize that I will not be in the first choice invites. That is all right. I've never been ingrained in any gang, but I still have plenty to say. And without arrogance getting in the way. Your loss, not mine or ours. The older folk, we will tell our tales, share our words. And if you think that is absurd, that's your problem, not ours. I am aware that I am in the latter stages. So that means not caring for fashions or the latest rages, but I can still develop, still do more, learn from younger voices. Don't limit my choices. Despite my years, despite my time, I will keep transforming. I'm Septimus Prime. Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to pull in the curve and recite. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you. Wonderful storytelling and the lifelong learning that you're talking about, and then the conversation, the different experiences. That was a brilliant conversation. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Back.
Oh, bye. You gotta go. Oh, he's gotta go work. That was brilliant. Okay, let's see. Nayma Chamchoun.
It's Nayma.
Nayma, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Oops.
You're muted.
Sorry.
No
Sorry,
worries.
thank you. Okay, I'm going to share a couple of pieces today from my upcoming collection, COVID, the Wordy Wilds of a Mind Under Lockdown. The bat and the ball, waiting to be picked, the popularity prefects bringing relief or dread. If you're from somewhere else, you won't be chosen unless you can help them win. My chances are slim. I am nobody's first pick. The eyes that replay the intolerance served at home. Hattie will choose me. She's a shoo-in, putting all her power behind the bat. The ball's breaking impact as it soars above their heads, light as air. Hattie says, we gotta have each other's backs. We're all foreigners here. Occasionally accepted as friends, until anger brings the bad words, reserved for the brown hordes, inspired by the angry man on TV, canned laughter, key. She says, fun dat, take no crap. We are people too. Dangling acceptance, the playground power plays that stalk the days, the face of imperialism mirrored in the shallow pool of childhood schisms. Hattie, a rapid dark streak, bolting towards fourth base. The bats from strong trunks, winning for endurance. Thank you. And I just bring up my second poem. Thank you. So the second poem is called Garden View. The quiet's calm out here when the world is shut down and the breaths of sound frost in the cold silent air. Amber top windows in a silhouetted house warm the dark. A plume of gold sparks slips into the night like an amorous spouse. Both windows lit by Chinese lanterns. A Virgil of luminous stares, gazing fondly at human tears, knowing at any time fortunes could turn. Twitching curtains coyly wink, outstretched twiggy arms reaching, their longing for the light beseeching, crisp fingers clutching at life's twinkling. The darkened windows below, cloaked in feral bushes, a black-veined mesh pushes against the light's intrusive glow. Inky foliage figures stenciled on black. Rough winds crackle and stir, open-palmed leaves audibly cheer. Midnight sentry braced for attack. An agile relieve of feline shadows skip on moss-peaked garden sheds. Gaunt branches curled round them in threads. Civet tiptoes along the hedge. A roof in assorted chimney hats, each with spindly aerial arms, looming over the eerie calm. Matchstick soldiers in ghostly combat. In the black, the mind pollutes the track, concealing the way back, bending as relenting resolve cracks. Shadows and their masters join forces, covertly colluding with the night, dominating, dismantling the light. An onyx temporary respite, putting to bed human life and its discourses. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Wonderful personification. The language is just beautiful that you wrapped around your images. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please come again. Is Diane Murray Ward here? Zomkhonto. Did I get that correct? Welcome. Would you like to go next?
Yeah, it's okay. I had an arts class since morning, so can you hear him? Can you hear?
Having trouble.
Breaking up.
It's breaking up.
Oh, okay. Another person.
Welcome.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was going to say, I did this yesterday, and so people couldn't hear me. So I would love to fix it first.
Sometimes if you close the picture and just use your voice, it works.
Oh, can you hear?
So far.
Oh, I'll just do. I do know what a house should promise, but
You're
I know
breaking
that
up, Zomkhonto.
there's move on to somebody else.
I'm so sorry. Goodness gracious, we'll figure it out for next time. Thank you for being here. We will do it next time. October 22nd. Gary Huskisson. Yay.
Oh, yay. You know, you mean so much to me. Oh, yeah. It's been a wonderful night. That lady went before. What amazing poetry. All right, Amy, I've been really angry just lately. So I've just been writing angry poems. So, but do you want something angry or something nice or something sweet or something political? You can choose.
Political is good.
Angry.
Okay.
Angry is good.
Angry.
Get that out. Good to get it out.
I bet that was Genevieve going angry.
Hi, how dare.
All right. Can you hear me fine? I take it you can hear me. It's hot. It's fucking hot. You were warned. Yes, you were warned. Even by a 16-year-old Swedish girl called Greta. It's going to be too hot to fix the ozone layer. Sorry, Generation Z or Z, depending where about the ocean you're coming from. We didn't listen to your blah, blah, blah. We just thought, not our problem. Pakistan, remember well, is the 21st century Titanic. The housebound in the West is still playing while Karachi is sinking. And to make it worse, Celine Dion is still singing, and her heart will go on and on and on. But honestly, nothing will go on. The 90-year-old sinking of the Titanic, yes, was a tragedy. But it's been confirmed on a Blue Planet documentary that this was a warning from a melting iceberg. Don't mess with an iceberg. Don't pollute the sea. Don't mess with the icebergs. They are key. Because, let me put it this way, while those who sit on their fat bank accounts have used all the gas to heat the pools from their mansions, while that warbling Canadian has no European because she's still going on and on and on and on, while Pakistan is going down and down and down. Extreme weather discriminates. Climate change, extreme weather discriminates. It's always the poorest, weakest that cannot change the fate. Rushing water, bushfires, forced takeouts. Extreme weather discriminates. Well, not the privileged and the wealthy. Their profits are rising. Engines are smoking, private jets are flying. And while the poor are choking and the sick are drowning. But the cash tills are ready, registering. Ka-ching! Ka-ching! Icebergs are swimming, landslides are sliding, earthquakes are quaking, gales are blowing. When are we going to fracking do something? Just anything. It's always the vulnerable that are subject to dying. It's always those without sandbags that are thinking, hey, that's plant-based food for thought, isn't it? Who will be rich when the poor are no more? They have to come to terms with a totally things. The privileged and elite are picking straws. Who will press the button? Let me think about that dwellings. Who will clean your streets? Pick your food, make your beds, heal your sick, wash your bum, swallow your... Can't say that. Because climate change fracking discriminates. Why do the poor always have to pay for the sins of the rich? Who let the dogs out? Bermuda's singing, sinking even. The emissions of the rich are reacting. There's a new angle in the Bermuda Triangle. It's 180 degrees horizontal. It won't be the rich drowning. It will be the university credit books and shacks floating. We all get together at G7 after much debate and pointless pledges. We all decide that we're just going to leave it as it is. As it is. Africa starving, Australia burning, South Park melting, Amazon forest shrinking, Asia quaking, America, God bless you, disgusting, and China is fuming, and the West are banking and feasting. Yum, yum, fill up their tum-tums. The single-use plastic of the vulnerable and the sick are filling up the landfills by dying, while the pinstripe wasters are the only old fossils extracting. For fucking sake. Climate change discriminates. Put that in your own ozone layer and smoke it. And Celine Dion goes on and on and on. Have I got time for one more? I did say fuck it, I did say a little word. All right, we're going to try and go for one more. And I am going to do something nice for once. Something not political, something, I think Amy's heard this before. I don't think anybody else is, but no one's heard the new version. No, I'm not going to change mine. Guys, I've been walking in the dark in the face of the sun with a weight that each day gets heavier. A conscience is too bulky to carry, and a memory that is buried. A flock of doves go south forever. When getting north, I'm like a bullet without a gun. I'm a black man in the high moon sun. My eyes in the back of my head, because maybe I have to run in the direction I've been walking, strolling, walking in my face, squinting in the sun. Weight on my shoulders like an ass carrying Jesus. No bullet in my gun, and my eyes wide open in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while the people can for the people, while the clouds roll back and the stars till the night. It gives my brain no peace, no right, when I put my head above the altar to do what's right. You can see the inside of my heart and soul for the vultures to feed on, scavenging and raping and pillaging, pecking away at my spirit, my resolve, my consumed soul, leave my blood to boil, my skin to crawl. They bow their heads, take off their bowler hats, look at their pocket watch. Free time has stopped. All that is left on a side plate is not my reward in heaven, where life is green and airs on sale down the hallways. All that is left is my depression. This is my decision, but it's better than following the crowd and doing nothing. Given hate in the beginning and end, I own this depression, not their oppression. Yeah, you think, should I clap? Should I applaud? Should I put some in the chat? I will take your hand so we climb not just every mountain. We shall make bridges across Russian waters. No longer will be fodder to the slaughter. No longer will be fed. Right, so you can see the breadcrumbs sprinkled into the water. Freedom is calling, like an SMS notifying. Nokia ringtones are roaming. Dot dash, dot this, dot dash. Telegraph lines are beeping. Pigeons are cooing. It's going to be confirmed. It's going to confirm these shackles. My ankles are going to start dissolving before the sun begins to shine. We wind up the clocks, replace the batteries, and life will start at TikTok. Breaking news. Martin Luther King is still dreaming, and I'm still running. Ta-da! That's me, folks.
You have a brilliant voice and perspective, and such a way with language. It's hard to describe. It's powerful. It's truly powerful. You're welcome. Okay. Is Gail Anderson here? No? Okay. Genevieve Ray.
Hey, Amy. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'll start with crumbs and see if I've got time for a quick off the cuff as well. Have you ever barked at the moon? Fingernails marred with the traces of your drifting sanity, shame-ridden in solitude. Have you ever checked your fingers to troubled your toes, to ensure you're still existing, to be sure you still can be known? Have you climbed walls by pure neurology alone, clinging to the crevices while you're on your lonely floor? Have you balanced on pinpricks, pirouetting over volcanoes, answering diplomatic entreaties with a cyclone down your throat? If you have danced with the dreary, reshaped perception by twisting your nose, you have lived my eyes and ears, and you have my deepest empathy. Be safe now, fair wanderer. Follow the crumbs back home. Kind entreating arms are welcoming. You are never alone. You are never alone. Thank you. And if I'm okay for time, because we've got a lovely list, I'll do one of my off the cuffs. Cabaret. Life is a cabaret, oh son, life is a cabaret. I think I've been focusing on the wrong light sources as the light above me twinkles so elegantly, and I sit there making sure that my camera focuses and my laptop doesn't turn off so it comes off at the same time, and I am bleaked straight white. I have learned to turn thanks to a light. Multiple lights that are in this room. Lantern Carrier, this goes to you. You've taught me so much about the true streams and goldenness. And we sat in a park in the middle of London, bringing together motion and moment under a willow tree. I'm starting to seek the light in other souls and other people and other beings. And then, of course, I get to meet Gary. a light source of his own, a maestro of one, the circus, the ringleader. And so many wonderful artists that come. Therefore, it is glorious. I want gold in myself, so I dye my hair. I look for the lines within each spirit and the honor of being able to speak, reminding myself how long it was, how many crumbs I had to follow to gain that voice again. So in the sunshine, the true one, as we come into cold autumnal night, I wish you sunshine and glory. And if you may need to use your camera, for as long as it brings the words out of you, a wonderful glow in that.
Woo! Please unmute. Wow, wow, so powerful.
That was fantastic.
I agree.
Beautiful word. Beautiful word.
Brilliant. Thank you. Mhm. Gregory Slade, is he here? There he is. Ask him to unmute, he may not be there. We'll come back. Okay. Now, Bryan J. Daly.
All right. I got 3 one-pagers here. First one is called Aunt Lolo at Max. At Max, the Irish funeral home, we gathered to wake my father's mother. Must have been 50 daughters, sons, cousins, us grandkids, circling the motionless casket. Nobody but Grammy looked sad. I didn't see booze, though some guys may have been primed or carrying, or what's now my personal preference, both. We kinfolk mingled and chatted and chuckled in our heedless fashion. Uncle Joe told a joke. Others followed suit. The chuckles became laughs, the laughs roars, till one ungodly howl of blood-curdling intensity bested them all. Inappropriate wasn't a word then, like it is now, that covered everything. But that's what it was, I thought. We shouldn't be cutting up this way. It's a wake, for God's sake. I turned toward the howl, the stink eye, the dude who found Grammy's death so hysterically funny. But it's silly Aunt Lolo, my own godmother, sitting by the fruitcake, shaking all over in a floor-length dress and weeping convulsively into her hands. All right, this one is called The Lurching Cadence of a Mail Jeep. The lurching cadence of a mail jeep would be a good phrase to put in a poem sometime, I tell myself, and jot it down on the ever-present scratch pad to tuck away for future retrieval. While in the meantime, I listen from my front porch to the lurching cadence of a mail jeep, fulfilling its appointed rounds along my street this fine Saturday afternoon. You know, just in case I figure out a way to sneak it into one somewhere, maybe even as a title. All right, last one is called I Despair of Poets. Subtitle, Present Company Accepted, of course. I despair of poets, even though I are one sometimes, the quickest to take offense, the slowest to let go a grudge, the last to keep a promise, the first to cry victim, the most deluded about their talent, the least likely to pick up a check. On the plus side, they rock a decent line at times that makes you glad you read it. At best, their stuff has juice as much or more than life, which usually clocks in at mezza. The squeegee kind of comes with the gas. Even Plato says we're assholes, and he's right, in the sense that it's the foulest part of the anatomy. But dude, good luck living without one. I despair of poets, even though I are one. Sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well done. I appreciate your humor. And the funeral description was so real. Thank you so much. Now we have Zomkhonto, who came back on his phone. We're hoping.
I hope you can hear me this time. I've been having so much trouble with my Zoom or my laptop. This was from a prompt called House from the New Yorker Poets Cafe. I do not know what kind of sleep a house should promise, but I know that even when one is homeless, they still build a house underneath their skin, whose walls are so warm they keep the temperature right for the blood within. The skin becoming a roof over your head, tightening around you with no address but yourself. To have no foundation but a daydream, no pillows but clouds, but trusting that somehow, someday, a little rain might come your way, not to leave you cold and not knowing where to go, but for when you are standing over the foundation, where you are building a house brick by brick in your soul, and it rains just to make the ground take hold. Because everyone desires a home. Even caskets have occupants that cannot put their gratitude into words. Some died gasping at the beauty of how their new homes will be carried down the streets paved with gold and jewelry, to be placed into vaults where it must take at least twice the time for the underworld to retrieve their wretched souls. Because righteous or wretched, everyone desires a home. Even some scared little girl standing over the incomplete foundation of new condos left abandoned like used condoms under the two large pillars she currently calls a house, with a street-acquired spouse who loves to stand in between those pillars as if he is Samson, a man with the killer's eyes, who has now become her Delilah in disguise. That scared little girl standing over this foundation, building a house, brick by brick in her soul, letting him and the methamphetamine take control. Standing in the imaginary kitchen, mapping out the sink for the dishes that belong to suppers that are not rushed, washing each one like a baptism, knowing that tomorrow she will crash, but hoping that it's on a regular bed and not the ambulance ones dead. I do not know what kind of sleep a house should promise, but government housing did promise. But the waiting list is like the devil's fist punching you to the back of the line. So you are back to square one, back to the first brick, because no one tells you that building a house brick by brick inside your soul also means storms, hurricanes that will strike in the soul with such force they leave holes in the clothes. And as you scramble into the coffee shop to keep warm, you find that not a single soul is trained in the art of bringing strangers home. In a world where houses have become fortresses for our own internal wars, everyone desires a home. Even ants that build it grain by grain into anthills that devils will soon level like controlled demolitions. Dilapidated buildings where some unknowns will soon go missing. An ant-man here, a dead ant-man over there. Those who had superpowers, but they were just too small for the world to care. Those always so close to finishing their houses brick by brick in their soul, but will probably be found dead under collapsed bricks, like that scared little girl. Thank you.
So well done. Powerful, powerful piece. Just speechless. Thank you. I'm so glad you came back. Thank you. That was awesome. Now we have, let's see, we have Greg Slade. Yay.
Hey, sorry I missed earlier. I saw a cool bird outside. I went out to try to take a picture of it.
Oh, cool.
I just don't know what it was. I'm gonna have to look it up. It seemed like one I hadn't seen before.
Cool.
Anyway, this is called Back to Life. I think I'm gonna have time to do two, I guess. It's called Back to Life. The craft of an artist is inspiration. So this has been the split home of my secret ambition. True, one can learn the technique, how many skilled players I know playing, but what's been written for the show, the ability to create, see, doesn't just make creation so. A spirit must be breathed into the clay to shape it into the form it was somehow meant to take. A great vocabulary does not a great writer make. Now choose an art and I'll show you its skill. There is yet one more step to take place. Inspiration is required to set the whole psyche in motion, a thing to say, a story to tell, a song to sing that rings like a bell, a painting made that causes the breath to stay, a dance that makes your own body sway, the sculpture that moves you in that unspoken way. That's the inspiration having its day, living in the peace until it is changed by your brain back into the spirit from whence it came, living again, then again, and again. Brought back to life by the community of mind, reflection back and forth regardless of both space and time of the spirit of the creator. So it's not the art I seek per se, not recognition or praise, not even influence or change. I seek to be inspired because what I want to do is to create. How does one seek inspiration then? Now there's a question for the age. Wisdom can serve to inspire, given the patience of the sage. Music too can raise the spirit in you, so long as the right song is played. Love can give the spirit such a lift, even in its going, it can give the artist such crushing gifts. Many poets study how blithely nature shifts, how folks behave and betray themselves, having lost and found then their wits. Any number of things can be the key to one's inspiration's fits. It's a way of being, really, more than any specific tricks, being open to see the beauty of truth when it clicks, to capture a moment passing and to say, no, this moment needn't die, for I see through the craft of some art that I might make it live another life.
So good. Did you have more?
That one was called Back to Life, and I do have one more if there's
yes, please.
If time allows.
Yes.
This one's called Cotton Cloth. What is the right measure of smart and good? These things we never speak of, yet we presume to be understood. Oh, do not say such things. I hear the chorus even in my room. To define what is wise or well these days is not a task we are taught to choose. Yet to say some things are less or more smart on its face is undoubtedly true. The same with what is good or bad, not to overly correlate the two. Some smart things are bad and some dumb things are good. The balance, as has always been, is the key. As I have come to see from the struggles my time presents, if one is too good or too smart, God forbid, they bear too much of both. One may then sort of linger on the edges if one is wise, I suppose, having learned the lesson of being driven from the center when something too complex or kind was proposed. Something too smart, too good, may never get the chance these days to grow. Beaten back, the urge to speak and act, burning inside as you glow. Learning to dim the light, putting thoughts on paper to get them out of your mind, trying to decide how hard you should try, wondering all the time how to expand the capacity of the crowd to accept the higher heart and mind of something better and smarter than one might expect to find. Imagination breeds the future. May we make it more kind and wise. Might we bring some peace to the rolling seas of eyes, making so much space that the scream grows quickly so quiet. Man, it would be cool to be able to release this fire instead of being told not to think so much, not to try so hard, not to care so much, at least not to say it so much all the time. So I keep my fire by my side and keep wrapping it with this fiber and dye. Who can keep a blazing fire tied in a cotton cloth? All I can say is I've tried.
So good. Thank you
No
so
way,
much.
Greg. No way. Oh, please tell me you got socials. Oh.
You can find me on Instagram, Greg Slade. I haven't started posting anything there, but I'm about to.
I don't care. You will post soon.
Yes, at Greg
brilliant.
Slade at
you so much.
Instagram, you should find me.
Wow. That's
Thank you.
beautiful. Man.
Love it. Thank you. So well done. So reflective, provocative, an inner journey, great rhyme, so many good things. Thank you. Thank you. And is Natalie Salgren here?
I am.
Yay.
Yeah. Thanks, Amy,
Oh,
for
you're welcome.
having me. Some amazing poetry so far this evening, and always a treat to hear Lantern Carrier. So really happy to be here. I'm going to do two pieces this evening. The first is, will I ever wonder if people look down at their shoes and think about what those shoes have taken them through? So this is the Doc Marten. And actually it's been inspired by The Blue Dress by Said Jones. Her Doc Marten is a boot, is a footstep, is a journey of worn creases, broken casing and stretched shoelaces, tracing the shape of the cobblestone, slowing her down in a small French village, is lost in translation, is forgotten pronunciation of ancestor voices curling around dark corners. In farmyards, with a well in the centre, looking down the well into darkness and not daring to let go, is letting go of the stone and getting chills in the echoes, is not looking back, not waiting for the stone to drop, is looking back and feeling the drop in the crack of the well wall, and the broken steps at the church where her parents got married, is the yellow in the photographs, is the dog-eared memories of childhood dreams, is the warm summer puddles, is the splash made in joy of the slapping sensation running down the bitumen, is the barefoot warrior, is innocence settling into independence, is traveling the world in a pair of Doc Martens. So that was a nice little warm-up piece. Thank you. The next piece, actually found a new entry in the dictionary, given it is an Australian dictionary, but so they have this new entry. I thought I'd read it out for you tonight. It's a noun, unable to be found or recovered. First meaning. Second, not utilized or noticed. No longer possessed or existing because of defeat. A word meaning the process of extracting the soluble compounds from the leaves and dissolving them in water, as in have a cup of foreigner. A depression in where traffic has removed broken pieces of the pavement. It's usually the result of flooding in the underlying structure and traffic passing over the affected area, first weakening the underlying soil. Traffic then fatigues and breaks the poorly supported surface in the affected area. Continued traffic action ejects both crust and underlying material to create a hole in the pavement, as in those foreigners are terrible. Verb. To explore underground caves, she foreigned herself so hard she got buried. Valuable items, if which left foreigned, are able to be placed in designated bags labelled unclaimed. By law, the finder's reward is 10% of the current market value of the item, though no less than 50 euros. We're in Europe here. The specified fee for storage costs is 5% of the current market value of the item, though no more than 17 euros. If the general storage costs amount to less than 4 euros, the compensation may be waived. If the owner does not claim the item within 3 months, you can collect said item with a few exceptions if the item was delivered to the police, you must collect them within 3 months of the transfer of ownership. After that, they shall be forfeited to the government. Small items of value will be stored in the migration department when possible. In the case of an emergency admission, foreign items will be kept in a safe located in the Protection Services office in the emergency department. Adjective. Confused, bewildered, or helpless, as in she was foreigned in their discussions, or rational arguments were foreigned on her. No longer existing because of defeat, morally fallen, damned, a foreign soul.
Wow, so good. So very good. Thank you so much. Just so powerful. Thank you. And I've got, let's see if I can get this right. I'm sorry, Karen Melander-Magoon needs to go now.
I managed to unmute myself. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And thank you, Lantern, for inviting me. I loved your feature, and I've been just inspired by everyone today. It's wonderful to get a little different feel from a place that's on the other side of the ocean from where I am. So I'm going to read from one of my latest books. I'm way too prolific. I keep writing books and I don't know. There's a lot of poetry out in the world. But this one is from Millions of Suns, and it's the first poem in the book, so it's called Millions of Suns. Millions of suns rise each day over planets not yet numbered. Eclipses vanish galaxies of moons, become shadows to each other. Gravity defies and then denies competing rules of science, compatible in laws yet to be learned. Earth sends her emissaries out to visit worlds beyond the sun we know, to track the footsteps of the gods, venturing beyond their own horizons, far beyond myths, rings of fire, beyond the spinning globes of ice, beyond uncharted ocean's depth, and far beyond the rags and tags of vacuumed holes turned inside out, dancing bursts of molecules, intrepid hosts of unsung stars, shooting beyond all consciousness, shooting beyond time. Millions of suns rise and set within a spinning universe on which we ride, a carousel beyond imagination, beyond peregrinations, lost, uncharted destinations, spinning within multitudes of mazes, shielded from disaster by a throbbing pulse of yin and yang, of pull and push, a giant pulsing universe, unfathomable heart, deep magnitude of being, stretching, reaching beyond meaning, yet connecting, finally seeing beyond time, beyond dimension. Rhythm beats her ineluctable creation, never ending, still extending, beating, bending, never ending dance of life. That was my first, and there's just one more. I'm going to do one, there's a little different direction called What to Worry About. While we are told to worry about proposals to create a more just society, told to worry about costs of Medicare for all, tuition-free education through college for all, forgiveness of all student loans, the right to a home for all, subsidized when necessary, salaried parental leave of 9 months minimum, family payments for children, a guaranteed living wage, all amenities and subsidies our European friends take for granted. We tend to forget the billions we spend on military bases abroad, the high costs of paying for military personnel outside the USA, the costs of mass incarceration, the costs of subsidizing coal, oil, gas, fracking, the cost of ignoring climate change and failing to take steps to ameliorate its damages and address its causes by drastically changing our dependence on carbon-generated fuels. We tend to forget the costs of maintaining a society with egregious imbalances between rich and poor, with thousands of homeless becoming ill and dying on the streets of our nation, the most wealthy nation in the world. We tend to forget the weak and the dying. We tend to forget those whose tents we take away when it rains. We tend to forget the octogenarians whom we have evicted from homes they have lived in most of their lives. The women with young children begging on our city streets, we forget. Those whom we have turned away from hospitals in dire need of help. We want to ignore the children we have separated from their parents at our borders. We want to ignore racism and injustice. We want to ignore and forget our nation's promises to welcome the poor, the huddled masses fleeing violence, often the result of our own policies. We want to forget, and yet the specter of injustice will not dissolve into the fog of our own self-deception, or our own self-imposed ignorance, or that of our government by and for the people. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Powerful voice, very clear, focused voice.
I have a tiny one. Thank you so much. I have a tiny one because those are also.
Oh, sure, go for it.
It's just a few lines.
Sure.
I just was looking for something short, called Waiting Clouds. The air is chill, the sun ragged. Clouds are hiding, waiting. Winds ruffle the sea, as Ham's tousling waves upon singing currents laugh back at waiting clouds sliding into memory. So thank you so much for your time and for the beauty of your poetry. I'm going to have to take off and take care of my grandsons who have been waiting for me. And bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Karen. Good night.
Bye. Natalie Salkren? Still here? Yes, no?
Yeah, I am, but I've already read.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I got confused. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Philippa McDonald.
Hello. Okay. Hello, everybody. All right, this is called I Come From. I come from story and a strong cup of tea. The strength of that brew is my responsibility. I come from convergence of sea and river that fail to wash away the inheritance of pain. The tones and groans and weather-based moans, a day at the seaside and throwing stones. I come from algorithm and that need to be right. Who dares to articulate what is hiding in plain sight, soldiering on after the war within the war, a cup of isolation because no one dares to ask for any more. From the other side of the water with a dose of dread, maybe it's just all in my head. But I come from fear and it's disguised as routine. From my back garden with a trampoline, I come from a threshold and from a different truth. And it hurts like the pain of my wisdom tooth. I come from a rich mix of ambivalence, an abundance of comparison and silent vigilance. I come from hope and washing lines and good nights out being dressed up to the nines. I come from assumption with a twist of disguise. It is what it is, and this is how we live our lives. But I come from wrongs that we tried to make right. A cocktail of flexible moralities out of sight. I come from things that aren't as they seem. It's like living in a boulevard of broken memes. I come from flavor and northern behavior, from accent and selective memory. And yet, I come from contradiction, and contradiction comes from me. Thank you.
Thank you. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Did you want to do another?
No, thank you. I thank you very much.
Oh, sure.
I think that there's a lot of people left and I really would like to give them the opportunity.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Deborah Burris-Kitchen.
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry, I couldn't get it
Oh, you're
unmuted.
fine. Oh, no worries.
Okay, yes, I'm going to share a poem entitled Britain. This is a young woman that's transgendering, and she was in a photo shoot for another one of my poems. And when I was watching the photo shoot, her beauty just inspired me to write a poem about her. So that's the one I want to share. Okay, let me put on I forgot to put on my camera or turn off my camera. Okay. I am a swan, sacred to Aphrodite and Apollo. I am a chameleon, shedding my old skin for new. I am artistry, like a Madagascan sunset moth, scattering light off my reflective wings as I fly. I am delicate, like fine crystal. Don't shatter me with seismic wrath. I am humble. Your vile words could destroy my aura of exquisiteness. Who I am fits me like fine leather seats in an imported sports car. I am picturesque. I am love. Your hate is more venomous than an inland taipan snake. Your poison is powerful enough to kill 100 of me. You strike with potency as you are determined to control my body. I am a breathtaking portrayal of everything that enrages the transphobic, but I am resilient like an emperor penguin. I can endure Arctic temperatures at 40 below zero. I am resilient like a camel. I can survive heat at over 140 degrees. So freeze me with your icy stare. Set me on fire with that torch you carry, but you will never invalidate me. You bury your head in your Bible, highlighting scripture you can use to legitimize the violence you commit against me. You hide behind your cross as you persecute me. But in the end, your body will be discarded into the fiery furnace of hell, for mine is a loving God who embraces me. While I fight to escape the body, I have been imprisoned erroneously. Your maltreatment of me has infuriated him. Take a good look at me. I am beautiful, strong, and powerful because I walk proud and tall next to him. You will never break me. I am at peace with who I am meant to be. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a wonderful perspective and very powerful story. So well done. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. And thank you, everyone else. I've been enjoying this.
Joy Johnson.
Okay. I have just a few things here, little things. They don't have names or anything, so sorry about that. Here we go. A child is born, a girl. A smooth, cool rock is her gift, washed in the river. The river is the truth. Birth is a washing into the world where the earth's gifts of stones become bones, blood, flesh, and a girl child learns the truth from just how the river goes. The river cannot watch its rocks. They constantly slip by, become gifts the river washes them true, though. So the house they make can see a small child born to make a girl who is true, too. Truth is a river only washes its rocks. It does not know them. They are earth's bones, her gift to the child born between the elements, that she may know their truth. Let's see. Another little one. On the table behind me, paperwork, mother's prescriptions, my taxes. I am at this desk when my sole desire is to feel the loam and sand of the soil that grows everything good. Crows are stenciled on branches that emerge from the bank of fog. Let me see what else I have marked here. Yeah, no, I'll skip that one. Okay, this really short one. After promises and tears, we shared a peace pipe in the darkness under bedclothes. The moon herself could not penetrate as we wrote our treaty. We behaved like cows at their salt block.
Oh my God, that is so good. Those are so good. Thank you. Did you have another? Or yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
They're all little bitty short things.
All right.
Delicately, because I don't welcome condemnation. I want to speak of women and their knowledge and children. Is there an herb that will make me feel better about Ian married to Lena? I am the one with the freedom to stand in the moonlight on the beach. Only I'm a whale. There you go.
Love those. Well done. Thank you. As always. Carly Kempski.
Yeah, hi, I'm here. Let me turn my camera on. First off, let me just say thank you for doing this. All of the poets here have been just incredible. So thank you everyone for sharing. Y'all are amazing. So I have two poems. One's really short, but I'll start with the first one. It's called Temptation. The devil created me as a way of temptation. The devil has taught me his ways. With the birth of my name, I took hope from every place, roaming, wandering. Regardless of my powers, I crave the attention of temptation, making you want more, making you need me more. How can my temptation rule out the possibility of endless forms of nature, of this beauty I do not possess? My power fell upon me, I suppose, as a test. Wastelands of power, souls fell into my arms, souls died within my arms. My power of temptation that brings you insanity, from my immortal being, landing safe and soundly, making faces frown upon me, this being my immortal body, an empty cavity by which I crave your temptation too badly. The power of these molds that society places, not knowing about the realization of my surroundings, and I will be your final destination, carefully wasting my time. I'm sculpting your minds with the palm of my hand and every aspect of my mind. I will become your temptation slowly with time. Eventually, I'll find a way to make temptation stay. And that was just about all the negative stuff in the world. I wrote that when I was younger and discovering alcohol and everything and all the negative stuff in the world that is tempted by humans. Okay, so this next one, it's called Time is Linear. This is really short. Time feels linear for one moment. So take 2 deep breaths and count to 10. Time feels like honey that melts in your mouth and is too sweet that sometimes it becomes unbearable. Time is starting to float away and becomes an illusion of space where nothing but drifting photons. Time stopped feeling linear today, and my mind got lost roaming the fields in the country lands I grew up in. Time stopped feeling linear today. Words flowed through my head and thoughts danced around behind the dark of my eyelids. I can't believe I want to live. Okay, thank you so much for letting me share.
You're so welcome. Those were wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Powerful. Keith Moore. Keith Moore. You hear me? There you
I'm
are.
coming. I'm coming. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a little dark. I hope people can see me. It's very nice to spend time with you. This is my first time here. So I want to do a piece, and I just want to say a little bit about the Genesis. This was written in response to the prompt, I am. And it's, believe it or not, it's the only poem I've ever written in response to a prompt. I am absolutely, positively about to burst. I am an unquenchable thirst. I am a blood vessel about to burst. I am an untold story in free verse. I am too many stories for one poem. Is a poem a poem if it isn't spoken? Is a path if it isn't taken? Is bond still bond if his martini stirred, not shaken? I am the voice my mother and father never had, speaking the language of bold. I am bursting at the seams with the language of I am here, motherfucker. I am the vow that refuses to be silent about the things that really matter. I am bursting with story. I am from the poor, tough, trying to get by, but don't give up on your dreams. Hard scrabble west side of Fresno. I am Chinatown, where the winos on East Street sit lined against a wall like rows of birds of prey on a telephone wire. An alcohol-smelling gauntlet calling out to the 7-year-old me. Hey, Sonny, you got any change? I am the tunnels under the streets in Chinatown. It was illegal in California for a Chinese face to be seen after dark. So at night, the Chinese traveled underground in tunnels they built. There are tunnels in my heart where my song went underground in order to survive. I am white suburbs where we moved in the 3rd grade. I hid the Chinatown in me. I told the kids I didn't know how to use chopsticks. In the suburbs, shame spread through my veins like an infectious disease. My throat under the Gestapo boots of every kid goose-stepping in the Ching Chong Chinaman parade, grinding a lasting heel print, a black and blue bruise of self-hate. In the suburbs, I lightened my hair with hydrogen peroxide behind a locked bathroom door. I am Chinese and Catholic. I am bursting with guilt. I am a duet in search of my missing half. I am phantom limb syndrome. I feel pain in the self that I lost. When I learned not to cry, when I said poetry is for sissies, when I banished my shiny patent leather dancing shoes, when I was afraid most of the time, I wasn't man enough, even though I was a little boy. I am the wounded child inside the man. Adulthood is an addition to childhood. It's not a substitute. I am bursting into view, telling the untold stories of my culture. I am glimmering, glistening mirror, a gift for the starving little boy in me, famine wasting his spirit, emaciated boy with swollen belly, starving to glimpse his own reflection. I am bursting with pride. I am the yellow mamba. I am Jeet Kune Flo. I am Enter the Poet. I am kicks of fury up David Carradine's ass. I am a dance in search of a beat. I am sexy, sassy, sashay and swaying, breathtaking, earth shaking, law breaking, bringing home the bacon, make no mistaken, quaking and shaking, sexy Asian hips. That's right, I said sexy Asian hips. I am laying claim to my space. I am declaring the beauty of my golden amber honey butter skin. And maybe, just maybe, there's a part of me in you and a part of you in me, just bursting at the seams. But as for me, without a doubt, my brothers and sisters, I am absolutely, positively, undeniably, unequivocally about to burst. Thank you so much for listening.
That is amazing, 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 amazing. Just the breadth of the story, the funny ending, all the word language, I mean, the rhymes. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Do we have Christopher George? Did he stay? He was here. No? Okay. Fatima Lisbeth.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Amy, for having me.
Sure.
This piece is called Letters to a coffee-stained heart. Today is Friday. I know this because I see those who dishonor me in between blinks of an eye briskly stroll by, sinners smelling of genital firdos. Their dishonesty is draped with devout momentum as their angelic robes blissfully deceive unscarred souls, those whose bright eyes have been fattened with platters of nur. But their hearts remain as dark as Hajar al-Aswad, witnessed through blinded eyes on the blackest of lightless nights. I observe them with both disgust and curiosity. Perhaps I should lower my gaze, even though they have rested their skeletons in the hollow earth of my innocence. These must be the signs spoken of from the bedtime stories of my eaten childhood. I watch as they flock into the masjid. I realize I have never glimpsed underneath the veil of this uncurved place, and an untouched part of me wonders if they are the ones spoken of as the first to be flung head first into the blazing fires of Jahannam, fueled by men and stones. Hearts that day will tremble. I haven't spoken to him in decades. I think he didn't see me when I washed the pages of his book with my naked tears. I read once, he is closer to you than your own jugular. Can he hear my subdued sorrow? I cast aside these mirroring thoughts as a face flashes through my echoing mind. I wonder if he thinks about how he wounded a motherless daughter's heart forever and gave the world permission to continue his legacy. Father detested emotions. He said it was I who beckoned his rage, and he had no choice but to beat and beat until my heart beated solely in forgotten urns, abandoned in gardens of wild silence, and shame began blooming in a voiceless grave. 1:20 a.m. is the hour when calls of night are tamed, conquered or left to lie in the cooing silence. Each death shall bring forth the age of a deathless dawn awake. So that was my first piece. So my second piece is called Meridian Prayer. My moonstruck heart, once a lazy-eyed walnut, sits cross-legged impatiently in overcast glades. It shines dully through the cataract lens of an oyster-eyed cyclops, never expecting, but holding nevertheless onto unsuspecting expectations. To hold is power. I bear their mark, a clear-cut chevron gifted. It hides from my shadow by standing fully dressed in blindness. Here, generational curses moonwalk in a saucer of sour milk, and indecency rakes through my celibate soul. A quartz-crowned kite skims the alpenglow of my desertion. A colony of honeybees are raped at noon while sleeping. The moving tower of Camelot collapses in on itself, hovering, and then vanishing within the serrated embossment, whereupon the blessed, with the beautiful faces, consummate my nature, with the spittle fainting from the sinner's fountain of cold blood. It squirrels into the lightly toasted oatmeal and grazes on my heathen soul. It swims naked in cramping depths. I hear its pangs after the indifferent sun is blindfolded, delivering an ingrown warmth. I touch myself to live beyond its discomfort. I feel the snapping fingers of church mice pitter-patter beneath the nibble slits of my sloping nails, an itch or maybe a sign, streaks between this me and that which caused the brittle split in the place of 10, and piles its ionized tusks into the rails along the crescent spine of the lungless blood moth. Secrets are worshipped on the magenta prayer mat of my childhood. The good deeds keep me guarded, so the will I died 10 times for, banishing to the wall, licked by Yajuj Majuj, may never reveal its back teeth and overthrow the pock-marked earth into great heights. A throne trembles in the sky, but I endure the shattering. Wordless disloyalty is inscribed in the inner cheeks of an unripened grapefruit, cunningly placed in the cuckoo's nest. From the pecking motherless chicks whose mouths I faithfully fed, I have been revived many times. Which one am I, and whose soul shall I sharpen my scimitar upon? Thank you.
That's so amazing. That was so brilliant. Oh my God. It like a beautiful dream, like a vivid, beautiful, powerful dream, right? Oh my God. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everybody.
Sure. And did I miss? Let's see. Generalissimo, Bryan, Franco.
Before I go, I want to say, Fatima, that first poem was so mesmerizing, and that second poem was like a surreal amusement park for my brain. It was fantastic. I want to moonwalk through a saucer of sour milk. I really don't, but that just sounded fantastic. I'll just read some poems. Oops, hold on, let me find it again. Here we go. I've got 3 poems. The first was recently published in the Cork, for the Cork Cultural Night newspaper, and it's called Give Us This Day. That's in Cork Island, by the way. Give us this day. He was warned the city would eat him alive, chew him up and spit him out. He savored the city and digested every experience it offered: sweet, bitter, beautiful, ugly. Honking horns and sirens sung him to sleep. The silence outside his childhood bedroom window riddled his visits home with insomnia. He found horizons in the asphalt and shadows that didn't exist in the Atlantic Ocean. He had become a glutton for all the cul-de-sac had denied him. He delighted in the bitter in a naively sweet way. He realized it was okay to talk to strangers. He enjoyed the company of the waving homeless man who slept on the bench near the jogging path. They never conversed, never shook hands, never exchanged names, yet each served a purpose for the other's existence. They gave each other each day a little piece of daily bread. One waved, the other waved back. The sweet sound of dawn was the theme song to their conversations, a collaboration by 2 long-lost brothers who drank their coffee black. That one time they had breakfast together, they sat at a counter downing cups of black coffee and chewing on a city neither could ever spit out. The second poem was recently published in the Cooch Bihar Autumn Anthology in India. It's called Falling Free. They are yellow, red, orange, green, and brown. They are maroon, rust, ochre, umber, goldenrod, burnt sienna, and sunshine. They are paprika, turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, cardamom, and mace. They are mustard, ketchup, barbecue sauce, and salsa. They are melted processed cheese product atop blue tortilla chips with avocado, purple olives, red onion, and electric orange habaneros. They are every color in a carrot cake. They are a swirl of melted milk, chocolate, and pureed raspberries. They are Mother Nature performing a striptease, these autumn leaves. And one more poem, which is brand new. I did it in a recent workshop. It's called I've Fallen and Can't Put Myself Together Again. When my heart breaks, it shatters like a sliding glass door, slowly fracturing into different sized bits, each falling separately inside my body. It is the job of my soul to sweep up errant fragments with a dollar store whisk broom and dustpan, then epoxy the shards into a new heart that will be incomplete and need to regenerate particles who never found their way into the dustpan. My new heart will have learned lessons, but have new parts that will make old mistakes, that will lead to another heartbreak and another newly epoxied heart and another heartbreak and another new heart, and so on and so forth, and such is the way of the heart. Gracias, everyone.
Gracias a ti. Oh my God. So good. So good. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Do we have Sarvin Afarinesh?
Hi.
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 Welcome.
It's Sarvin. It's Sarvin.
Sarvin, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. It's my first time here, so thank you for
welcome.
having me. Lantern, you're amazing. Everyone else, it's just been very nourishing. So yeah, very grateful to be here. I will read a couple poems. Let's see. Okay. I want her to care. I want her to make room in her heart for me. Not dismiss me or use me to feed off of, but truly love me, see me, be interested to get to know me. What do I like? What am I like? Not what does she need? To hear my voice, to see me and ease her missing me feeling. I don't care, Mom. I'm not here to appease you or fill you up. I'm not a coffee machine, and you're not a coffee cup. Leave me alone. Let me live my life like you supposedly advocated for. And no, there's no room for you in it. You suck up all the air so I can't breathe. That's more basic than basic needs. So, sorry, not sorry. Very sorry. Very heartbroken. Devastated. But I always am anyway. When you're a part of my life, or rather scooting your way in any tiny hole you detect. It's my life, my home, my holes, my space. Now get out of my face. Leave me alone. You already have when I needed you most. So at least please get out of the way and let me mourn. Thank you. That's the first one. And the second one. Maybe I'm a little bit more self-loving. Maybe my window blinds are a little bit more open now. Maybe my blind sight is not daily, but weekly. Maybe I hate myself a bit less. Maybe I've forgotten how to write and how to self-hate. Maybe I'm not full of shame, but full of shit. Maybe I'm just as bad as everybody else I'm angry with. Maybe I'm not angry, but hurt. Maybe my heart is wrenched so tightly that I can't breathe right. Maybe I don't give myself a chance. Maybe there are no chances to be distributed. Maybe I'm scared of life, of loving. Maybe I don't know how. Maybe my frustrations are severe. Maybe I'm severe. Maybe I'm too hard on myself. Maybe I'm not hard enough. Maybe I can't control my impulses, my temptations. Maybe trying is enough and it does pay off slowly. Maybe it's not enough and it doesn't. Maybe it never has and never will. Maybe life is meaningless. Maybe I'm gay. Maybe I'm the one who is in denial, not them. Maybe I can't see myself from far away. Maybe I'm too far away from myself to be myself. Maybe I don't know who myself is. Maybe I do, and it's hurtful to swallow the truth all the time. Maybe I'm not as virtuous as I claim. Maybe I don't cut myself enough slack. Maybe I'm not so bad, but I can't see how good I am. Maybe it's not about good or bad. Maybe it never was. Maybe they tricked us. Maybe I fell for it again and again. Maybe I'm sad, ashamed, angry, and disappointed. Maybe I'm infuriated, devastated. Maybe life is devastating. Maybe I can't tolerate emotions like I thought I could. Maybe I'm much better at it than I think. Maybe I don't know anything. Maybe I know a lot. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So good. Your story is so vivid and your passion is great. I love how you blended everything with imagery and it was wonderful. Thank you. Now, Gregory Lannam.
Oh, hey, Amy, it's been too long since I've been able to make one of these. It's been amazing. And Latin Carrier still, I'm still like, over his performance at the beginning. I've got a couple of nature poems, I guess you'd call them here. First one, Thunderstorm. It begins with listening to the silence, the proverbial calm. I've been checking my smartphone, watching the stop motion Technicolor stains creep like angry amoebas west to east. Now is the time to unplug and go outside and see for myself the high hues of blueberries and bruises, instead of the graphic display of crimsons and scarlets. The driveway begins being anointed, cheetah spots appearing, as, despite the forecast's severe warnings, I listen to the thunder and smile. Such is my rainy day attitude that the lightning and its report are like trumpets flourishing before a show. The anger I saw virtually before appears. Trees bend, wind screams, drums a mile high. All things are leached of color, seen through the gauzy sheets of rain. I pensively wait and maybe even pray for the promised white in the west I saw before on the radar screen to paint the hues back into the world. As soon as it appeared, it terminates. There is a silence again, everything glistening in the afternoon dew, greener and brighter than before. I have never invested in galoshes, so I'm not out there in the grass, a child in puddles, careless so soon after the danger. When the multicolor promise appears in the spent firmament, I go back inside, still smiling, energized as if I'd been plugged in. And here's this other one, Pilgrim's Process. You do not have to be a lover of nature to love a walking trail, cut long ago by sepia-toned hands, a beautiful scar in undulating Tennessee hills, a necessary operation to heal ourselves. With the good intention of saints, we keep them open by countless pilgrimages, following the ghosts of a host of hikers past, leaving nothing but footprints, sometimes with burdens on our back, but each step depleting the litany of grievances we accuse ourselves of, our sins forgiven step by step, incline and decline. By the trail is the stream, narrow but never straight. There is no name for its hue of ever-changing blue. Verbiage fails us. Better to let the stream speak, lead us whisperingly to the shrine at the end, the waterfall that's been falling since the fall. You don't use an umbrella when you want to be christened, just as you do not go swimming when you want to be baptized. So underneath you stand in order to be as clean as the stream in this garden it waters. This isn't being reborn. It's being part of the continuity creation is. The trails ever changing, as are you. In an ancient landscape, you feel your own agelessness. Just as this landscape over accumulated millennia has been shaped by the patience of divinity, so you too are just as imperfect, never finished, never done for. We can forgive the wounds we have cut into our own souls and can love a nature whose only constant is change. Thanks so much, Amy. Glad to be here.
Beautiful, beautiful work. Yes, I feel like I've gone walking in nature myself. That's you elevated us to that.
Thanks so much. And thanks everybody. A great afternoon of poetry. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Is Hannah S here? Hannah S? She was here earlier. Wow. Anyone else want to read who hasn't read? Then it's my turn. I will just read one because of time. And it's a new one. It's called Trouble and the Energizer Bunny. Trouble 2 ways to Sunday. We trace our path with ash, carbon footprint. Eco-spirituality sounds about right. The ache in my bones knows your names, memory etched like a tattoo. Suddenly Madrid, buying antique photographs on the main square. Ritual cleansing of things that will never stay clean, safe. We rode our bicycles to the Etowah Indian mounds, powerful, imminent, frightening. I wanted to kiss you next to the river, but you climbed the mound with the others. Joy Harjo says she tried to escape history. I feel its weight like a deep ache. It's up to me, to everyone, to acknowledge our whole global history. Make it right. The flags at half-mast. We don't even know why anymore. I was the elephant in the room. No one could see me, but they knew just the same. 5 blind men came in and found me with exactly 5 views on my existence. It's an ancient feeling to be trapped, caught, property. The medicine goes on the left. The crystals are silent as flowers are enigmatic, blooming with energy. Postcards from Lake Odessa. Russia bombed Odessa again today. When will there be peace, restraint, mirrors covered in mourning, portraits turned to the wall? Penumbra slips past other shadows in my eyes. The earth remembers blood always. History is in our marrow, our DNA spirals. I paint the garden with cool water to settle the plants down. Heavy rain ablutions are preferable, more thoroughly loving of plant babies, innocence all. Out of blood, mud, lotus blossoms are formed. The perfect bloom, balance with the earth. In the balance, the flower that transcends time with beauty. Washing the glass bowl is washing a baby, another innocent, a Buddha. Everything matters, every single thing. Finding the path for each action in a moment, juggle our lives, find equilibrium. Deep water, deep moods. Should we stick to small talk or go deep? Is the world on fire? My algorithm follows my every move. Robots abound. AI might go rogue on us, and Siri has an attitude. Spirit houses of my heart, houses of love and light, transforming darkness into a fertile world of abundant opportunities to thrive. What does the deepest well think about well-being? Everything becomes an offering. The prophet on West End and Broadway, the Pope of Walmart gives thumbs up to everyone at the red light. I keep absorbing everything. I will cry someday when it becomes too much, then keep going like the Energizer Bunny. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, gosh, guys, this has been a marathon and a wonderful, wonderful literature fest. Thank you guys so much. We're blessed to be with each other and to have this time. And I'm just so happy. Thank you, Lantern Carrier.
Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude to all my very, very dear friends, all my poet friends, all the avid listeners, and Amy, you the life tree has many branches. What can I say? We all different branches, and we all have a unique talents, and we all very, very special.
I agree. I agree. We're blessed.
I thought you were launching into a poem right there.
I
thought, oh, I'm gonna do one.
I can't be like that.
And then
Even when I'm
no,
speaking.
I
It's a
forgot
natural
that when
gift.
you. I forgot
That's
that
what's
when
Lantern. You
you
can't
speak
tell. He's just him
and
talking. It's
poetry,
like,
it's the
yeah,
same
write that
thing.
down.
It's the same thing. I think if I stood next to you like for a whole day, like just one, like 24 hours, where you just talking and poems, and I'm trying to figure out which is which, it'll be the greatest blessing in the world.
I don't know how he knows when to write it down.
I can't wait to watch the whole thing. I truly can.
It'll be ready tomorrow afternoon, like late Sunday. So
yeah.
Oh my
More
gosh,
love,
you
more
guys.
love, more
Thank you
love.
so much.
Thank
How
He's a role
often do
you.
you guys
model. He's a
meet?
role
Once a
model.
month. Once a
Okay.
month. Our
I'd
next
love to
one
come
is
again.
October 22nd with Noah 11 as feature poet. And then we're off on November, December, and back in January. And it's the
Okay,
fourth Wednesday.
Okay, I'll write it down. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys. Have a blessed evening. I just can't say how much I enjoyed this. It was so much. I can't
Thank
speak.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. Have a blessed
Have a good one.
evening.
Blessed day,
Some very
everybody.
beautiful
Okay, everybody.
words.
Good, good rest of the
Stay
week.
inspired.
Bye.
Inspire a child. Inspire a child.
Mhm.
Thank you all.
Thank you.